Hello, and welcome to Decoding the Childcare Business. My name is Zuleika Hines. In this episode, we're going to discuss pre-launch strategies that you can take as you aspire to grow, build, or expand your childcare business. These are strategies that I also implemented in my own journey when I decided to pursue opening a childcare center. These strategies will help you create the foundation needed for you to understand how to be profitable in this industry. Before I go on, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also to like this episode. I'm a new YouTube channel and I would love to hear from you. Please also leave comments below so I can tailor future conversations based on your interest. Here we go. The financial reality of the childcare business. Why financial mistakes are devastating in an industry with razor thin profit margins. Many of the profit margin for childcare centers normally lie between 5 to 10%. And I say normally because there are outliers in the childcare business. Profit margins can go as high as 15% or as low as 4% or 3%. But I also want to let you know is that there are other industry with smaller profit margins, like the supermarket, whose profit margins can be anywhere between 2 to 3%. So profit margin, even though they average between 5 to 10% in the childcare industry, there are businesses with lower profit margins. Most failures do not happen because we have low profit margins. In the childcare industry, what I come to find out after teaching finance in City College is that many of the reasons why childcare centers have a gap or fail is because they don't understand their finances and they don't understand what expenses take place that year and what expenses are carried out in several years. Now, the operating budget of the staff in a childcare center is anywhere between 60 to 70%. And if you don't structure yourself properly, you are going to always be behind in the revenue stream of your business, meaning that you must also include your salary in your own budget so you can fully understand what is the cost in running a childcare business. A childcare business is not profitable if you decide to simply not include yourself with a proper wage for your role in the business and hope at a later time that you're going to catch up. There's so many things that will fall apart if you take that approach. So it's very important that you set up an operating budget that also includes the cost that you have of running your own program and that you build that into your financial reality. Mistake number one, failure to conduct market research. Many aspiring owners assume that there is a demand simply because parents need childcare. And this leads to gaps in the process. Just because you see childcare centers all around you doesn't mean that you opening a home-based center or opening a center-based program, you immediately going to be profitable, acquire students, receive new students, and be able to fill the gap that exists in your community because you don't even know if there's a gap. So how can you make the assumption of opening up a center program or a home base without looking at what is available in your community and understanding whether or not the supply is increasing or decreasing? You see, if the children in your area is decreasing, then your childcare center program may be impacted by that. You have to understand, are you in a expansion community or are you in a contracting community? Differentiation. What are the center programs providing in your community? What are the home-based programs services in your community? Are they staying longer hours? Are they providing weekend hours? Are they providing services in the evening? Are they providing aftercare? Are they providing bus service? What will be the differentiation service between you and the other centers around you? What's going to make a parent want to come to you? And are you meeting their needs? If you don't do market research, you don't know if you're meeting the needs of your community. Does the market support a large center program? Now, when you go into a center-based program, there's construction costs. They are requirements for building out the space for heating, air conditioning, and outdoor space. If a center-based program requires a larger amount of students to be profitable, maybe that's not the best way to start. And if you remember on a prior episode, we talked about home versus center-based. 78% started as a home-based program. What are the licensing capacities? Which model is going to be best suited for you based on your financial situation currently? Market research is critical because you're starting to understand the landscape where you want to go, how to open up the school, what is the pricing model that's going to be best suited for you, what is the schedule or the plan that's going to make you different from other programs, which will be the diamond that you're going to provide that is going to stand out for parents. And it's not what you feel is the differentiating quality, it's what parents are looking for. And it's really important. It's something that you can start unpacking as you do your market research. Mistake number 2, underestimating startup cost. Hidden expenses destroy budgets and also delay openings. I was able to open a center-based program with 4 classrooms 2 months ahead of schedule, with a 600 people on the waiting list. Yes. And I didn't do it once, but twice. How was I able to open 2 months ahead of schedule? A lot of that had to do with understanding my startup cost. One of the licensing compliance, background checks, multiple inspections, application fees often exceed estimates. And there is ways for you to unpack what those costs and fees are ahead of time so you can at least budget for them and start your process in identifying a realistic budget for your opening of a childcare center. This also applies to home-based programs because a home-based program may need facilities modification. Let's say that you have a sub-basement or you have a lower level that the Department of Licensing will qualify for children. However, you will need to have modifications made and live to access that level. Would you deny yourself the opportunity to expand your program and have 10 more children by being able to modify your space accordingly? Or would you forego that modification, hoping to generate income at a later date? And then what are you going to do? Close the center for 2 months? And then at the left, you see how that can be a difficult situation to be in and also put you in a place where you lose revenue to create more revenue. Where if you thought about it early in the process, you can take on the expense, build the lift initially, don't have to close the school, and now you have that capacity built in to grow your program. Insurance premiums is another place where we underestimate the cost. And the reason for that is that many insurance companies will insure you for your business and not know anything about the child care insurance policies that you need to have. That is very different from a business insurance policy. And not every insurance company offers childcare business insurance. There's probably maybe only 2 or 3 in the whole United States that offer business insurance for childcare. You have to make sure that you consider both the business insurance as well as the childcare insurance and understand who offers that and what is the going rate right now. The other thing to keep in mind about childcare insurance is that they will insure your business based on your capacity, not on your enrollment. Many childcare providers that are going into the business for the first time are assuming, well, I'm only going to have 10 children to start. But the childcare insurance will say, no, your capacity is 25 children. Therefore, I am going to price you for 25 children because I don't know at what moment in time you're going to go from 10 to 25 children. You see the dilemma there? That's why it's so important for you to understand that there's types of insurance to obtain and to be sure that you have at least an idea of what that looks like and budget into your plan. Training and certifications. Boy, let me tell you, there's a misunderstanding about training and certification that is required for the childcare industry. Many training and certifications are based not just on child development, but there's also training and certificates that is required for first aid infant toddler CPR training, food handler certificate, planning and budgeting. There are 9 different subject matter areas where you must have training. Every 2 years, you must have 30 hours of training. So imagine you have 10 staff times 30 hours of training. That's 300 hours of training. Each staff must have every 2 years. You have 150 hours of training that you must have every year in order to be compliant for your license renewal. If you don't have the training, you may not be able to renew your license when it comes up for renewal. Underestimating startup costs, your licensing compliance, facility modification, insurance premiums, your training and certifications. And let me give you a nugget on training and certifications. The fire department may require you to have a permit to be able to do fire drills. Just sit on that a moment. To do fire drills, you may have to get a fire department license or certificate in order to be qualified to do fire drills. And this will be the only person allowed to do fire drills. You must check with your state or your municipality to understand all of the different certifications that you must have. Sometimes the certifications are not in your startup kit that the Department of License provides to you. So you have to dig a little deeper and find out, are there any training and certifications above the ones that the Child Care Center has given to me that I must be responsible for in my facility? Operating costs can really hit your margin. Remember, your margin is only 5 to 10%. So if you want to be able to make sure that you take every single percentage, reach that 10% profit margin, you must be conscious of the startup costs oftentimes are overlooked or are hidden to you as you're launching your childcare business. Operating without a business plan. Nowadays, there's no excuse for you not to have a business plan. There's so many free apps online. There's ChatGPT, Gemini, there's Claude. There's so many different ways for you to be able to generate a business plan that was not available to me back in the day. I actually remember I had to buy a software called Business Plan Pro database, and I will input my information and it would guide me through different areas that I needed to include to create a robust business plan. Using the information, you should put together a business plan. Market research, being able to understand hidden costs will all be plugged into this business plan. And doing so will start helping you understand how you need to price your services. And by understanding the different gaps in your plan, understanding the cost of your business from the treaties, the different types of insurance costs associated with the build out, facility modifications, you would be able to incorporate that into your business plan and say at one-time costs, are these ongoing costs? And how will those costs that are ongoing be part of creating a break-even analysis to understand how many children I'm going to need to be able to successfully run this program. Essential business plan components will be a financial plan, tuition strategy, your staffing model, and enrollment goals. All of these things are super, super important. They're so important that I'm going to create different episodes to discuss financial plans separately, tuition strategy, the staffing model, and enrollment goals, which we're going to tie into pricing your tuition. If any of these modules speak to you, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to know which of these modules are of interest to you and be able to answer your questions as I create the topics within these categories. So please don't forget to subscribe so you know when they're coming out. And don't forget to leave in the comment below which of these plans you're most interested in so I speak to them and answer many of your questions. I can't wait to get into those modules. Going into mistake number 3, operating without a business plan. That's extremely important. The 3 biggest mistakes to avoid. So we talked already about failure to conduct market research. When I first researched my childcare program, I worked full time. So I would go after hours and look at the town that I was looking to open a childcare program. I would go to the children's park and talk to the parents to find out what schools their children were going into. Were they happy with their school? I will walk the neighborhood and speak to other families on the street. I will go to the laundromat. I remember my girlfriend saying, remember when you went to the laundromat to see if there were many families there washing clothes? The town that I was opening up my first program in Hoboken had a lot of buildings. So apartments was the area's main form of residence. And so many people would go to the laundromat or use their building laundromat. Later on, more expensive and exclusive apartments came into the market. But one of the things I noticed is that many couples will go ahead and get a pet, and that will normally be the introduction before they got engaged. So I started to see a cycle. Part of the market research I did was getting into the community, talking to families and parents. I would go into different childcare programs and see what the rates were, if they had a waiting list, what their brochures looked like, what were the hours of operation. So when I opened my program, I was intentional in opening up a program from 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night. And part of that was that after working in corporate America, I saw many of my female colleagues having to leave work early around 5 o'clock, rush to pick up their children from daycare. I did not want them to be missed for the next promotion. I wanted my childcare center to support working mothers. And so my goal was to open longer hours. And that was one of the differentiating qualities of my program. I was open from 7:30 to 7:30. And sometimes parents will need that time to socialize after work. In corporate America, sometimes colleagues will meet after hours to have a drink, to, kind of unpack the day. And that was a great way to network. And so many of the mothers who had to rush from work to daycare were missing out on a very important part of corporate America, which was the socialization component, where you meet other colleagues and have conversations and cement relationships. For me, that was a very big part of why I opened from 7:30 to 7:30, and something that I uncovered when I did market research. I share with you my business plan, by understanding startup costs, by plugging into programs, by being part of the community, by joining the urban league of my community, provided a lot of child care courses and workshops. I was able to understand what the current costs in my community, what were the contingency costs. Talking to different mentors allowed me to understand some of my blind spot, all of which I incorporated into my business plan. And that was very helpful for me to be able to really create a robust document that I was able to then use to obtain financing. Build financial excellence and ensure sustainable success. Your childcare business deserves the financial foundation that enables long-term impact. Future early childhood directors, owners, when you're going out there to open up your own childcare business, you're putting yourself on the line. For me, I had to personally guarantee that business loan. I had to use all the savings that I had put together as a down payment to open my childcare business. The business loan only gave me 80% of the total cost of building out the space. I built out a center-based program. It was a white envelope, meaning there was nothing inside the space, only 3 walls, because I had to build the demising wall, which is the wall that separated my commercial space from another commercial space. And I had to build it with a limited amount of funds. It was 3,742 square feet. There were no bathrooms. There was no kitchen. There was no office. It was clearly a white envelope, a white canvas. And for me to do that, I had to believe in what I was doing. But they also wanted my signature on the documents. Not only did I have to sign under the LLC name, but I also had to sign as a personal guarantee. So if you're going to personally guarantee a business loan, doesn't it behoove you to do market research? Doesn't it behoove you to go ahead and make sure you understand the hidden cost? Doesn't it behoove you to understand what your salary should be if you build your childcare program? Because in order for you to be successful, it is important for you to have a good foundation. A business plan is a good foundation. And I know many of you are excellent at working with children. You already have the pedagogy in place. You have worked in the industry. Creating a financial plan is something that makes you nervous. I'm here to guide you in that journey. We're going to do it together. I'm going to help you understand every part of the process. I want you to take the steps necessary to give yourself the best win. In our next episode, we're going to focus on the quit or commit your personal survival checklist. We're going to go into what you need to look into right now for your personal survival checklist. Why personal financial readiness looks like, why it matters before starting your childcare program, and what we need to do to audit your personal financial readiness to be successful. I opened my childcare program. I didn't have tons of money, but what I did have was a plan. Is what we're going to create is the plan for you to fulfill your dream. Decoding the childcare business. My name is Zuleika Hines, and I can't wait to meet you.